So first, I want to thank Estonian FA, and especially Keith, Catherine, to give me the opportunity to talk to you. Actually, I came here for the coaching course, but as it happens to have that conference, I was invited to talk about girls and women's football trends all over the world. We have heard excellent examples from Finland. And we have heard that development programs is important to have and it is important to set in place. So development is a key word, and it will be also a key word during the coach education course, of course, because we are on a development tournament, and we as coaches think our main task is developing players. So development is everywhere, but I was very happy to hear from Finland, from Mintu, that there is a proof that if there are development programs, there is more participation. And this is, I think this is key. It doesn't happen by itself. It doesn't happen, never on the world, it just happens like that. There are always people behind the development, people who push. And I'm very happy to speak in front of a lot of people who push. And I'm very glad to be here and see a lot of men and women who are interested in developing the female game, the women's game. So I'm glad to be here. I will present a lot of figures, a lot of numbers, a lot of figures. Before we start, just let me introduce myself shortly. As you heard before, I'm from Switzerland. I'm a UEFA and FIFA instructor, especially in women's football. I've got a long, let's say, career in Swiss FA, mainly as national team coach, but also developing the game. I was the head of women's football for many, many years, and I was also in charge of the National Girls Academy. And it's about 3 years that I quit the Swiss FA, and since then I'm traveling a little bit around the world, try to develop the game, all over the world. For FIFA, I'm doing a lot of coach education courses, consultancies. For UEFA the same, consultancy, and also technical studies on European Championship. So quite a wide range of activities, and I still love it. So as Keith told before, live to coach, or it is a life for women's football, or it's a life for football, not only women's, but as I'm a woman, of course, closer to the female game. But as you can see, I'm getting older, and I still love it. So I think it will be like that until my end. And I started long way back, almost like the pictures you've seen from the Dick Care ladies. But the evolution of the game, I think it's fantastic. It is fantastic. And as I said before, it didn't happen just like that. There were people who wanted to develop the game. And a result, or some pictures of where we are right now, is, you can see right now, from the last Euro, not too long back. Pictures, everyone wants to be there, but the emotions are almost the same, whether it is for these players or for the players we've seen before, Pusta and Pampa, yeah. They have got the same emotions, so that's why we all love it. As I said before, I will speak about figures, a lot of figures, based on the FIFA Women's Football Survey from last year. Like Anne was talking about the UEFA survey, there was also a FIFA survey, so it gives us a little bit wider insight, even if it's lots of numbers. If I'm talking about results, you need to know that 177 MAs responded, so that's quite a good number, so it's more than 80%. 23% of the MAs worldwide, they have got women's football dedicated staff. So 23%. That doesn't seem a huge figure. There is still potential. And we will see later on there is a lot of potential, still a lot of potential. I think there has been achieved a lot of things all across the world. As you have seen examples from your country, as, let's say, me coming from somewhere else, from a different place, meeting either representatives from your country on different occasions, or being here in the country, and then if I hear what has been achieved within the last few years, I just can, give or say congratulations. Congratulations to what you have achieved. But at the same time, I can tell you there is still potential, as you might know. But achievements and successes are really great. I think it's amazing. Sometimes we forget about it. If we are in the game, in daily work, we forget about what or how it has been before. But it's good to see that if we work hard, then we can get somewhere. Almost everyone has got a senior national team. Almost everyone. But only half of the countries have got youth national teams. So compared to your country, you can say, oh, we are in a good situation. We have got youth national teams. So we are far better than the average. These figures is just to make you think a little bit about the situation in your country compared to what is going on worldwide. Leagues, there is no league in many countries. I just come back from a developing country, very developing country. The kids, and especially the girls, they have got no possibility to play. There are no competitions, no leagues. The only thing they have got, school activities. But the teachers, they don't have the knowledge how to train. So there is still potential. If we talk about global participation, we speak about 30 million female players. This is about 10% of all the players. And it is about 1% of the female population. Not too bad, 1%. Yeah, but we have heard Finland. It's much more. And you are close to Finland, so I think that should be a good example for you to follow. If you look at, yeah, there is global participation, but there are differences in registration. If we speak about registered players, it's almost 5 million. If we look at girls' participation in grassroots programs, the number is increasing year by year. That shows again the high potential in women's football. If we talk about coaches, 7% of all the coaches are female, and a little more women or female referees, 10%. I remember when these figures were 2%, 4%, and that has been only a few years back. And there was a question about money. Money is always interesting to talk about, and nowhere in the world there is enough money for football. I don't know any club, nor any MA, nor no one, even if they have got a lot of money, but no one has got enough. But these figures also show that there is a lot of investment in the game. If we talk about women's leagues, as we've seen before, 90 or a little more than 90% have got women's leagues. And if we have got a closer look at it, the top 20 ranked nations, they all have got a national league. So the success on international level with the national team is very much linked to a national league. Only 65% of the MAs ranked from 100 or below, or not even ranked, have got a national league. So you are in a better situation here than the average. But I know that you don't want to be average, you want to be good. So it's just an information. Then I think quite an interesting point, even if it's not that important for coaches, but still, if we talk about funds, the vast majority of all the leagues are managed and funded by the MA. There are not many independent leagues, or there are not many fully sponsored women's leagues. Still, the MAs, they play a very important role. They played a key role in the development of women's football, which I think personally is good like that. Women as leaders, or women in different roles. If we look at executive committees, there is a little more than one woman per MA in the EXCO. But for instance, the country I come from, there is no woman in the EXCO. And I don't know whether this will going to be in the next few years. Probably will, because UEFA and FIFA are pushing. So sometimes you need a little bit, you need these helps from outside. And interesting, if we look at the UEFA figure, it is lower than the average. So that means that actually more developed MAs in women's football, they don't see that need for female representatives in excos. Or maybe speaking to the other end, they think, oh, let's have a female representative in the exco, then we can make a proof that we do something for women's football. I don't know whether these or those are right. Coaches, as we've seen before, 7% are female. In UEFA, it's 4% of all the registered coaches. So even if UEFA has got a huge number of coaches with more than or almost 34,000 coaches, compared to all the coaches, the ratio is only 4%. And you can also see that the higher in ranking, the higher the ratio. But yeah, we don't have any information whether these coaches who are registered in the database, whether they are really active as coaches. We don't know about that. The situation with the referees is a little bit better, but this is easy to explain. Historically, traditionally, there was a lack of referees all over the world, and yeah, come on, we need some referees. Okay. And I remember in my country where a little older colleagues of mine, they were told, no, you don't get the opportunity to play, but you can be in the game, be a referee. That was the situation traditionally. "84% of all the female players are not registered." So how do we find players? How can we say that there are so many players if they are not registered? It's just the participation in either school games or Live Your Goals or girls' festivals or whatever activities there are. Pushta and Pampa. I like the names, but I need to remember. Yeah. Participation in the game. Lots of players, lots of girls. And I think the interesting point is, with their participation, they give the proof that they want to play. They want to play the game. They want to be in the game. If we go to registered players, about 5 million, almost. And on average, 27,000 per MA, but this is a huge figure, and that's why I put also the central figure, like almost 1,000. A little bit more than half of them are younger than 17 years old, which is good for the future. And I think this figure will increase a little bit within the next few years, and then come back a little bit because there are also projects how to keep the players in the game a little bit longer, playing models and things like that. So if we look at the registered players worldwide, then we can see that almost half of them are either in US or Canada. There are 47% in US and Canada, 44% in UEFA, and not even 10% of registered players in the rest of the world. So Africa, Asia, Oceania, South America, not even 10%. I think here in Europe, we are in a good situation, with UEFA having a lots of programs since many years, and UEFA, I think, is also proving that they are flexible enough to adapt at every situation and every improvement, and also to have tailor-made, to give the opportunity to have tailor-made programs for every MA. I think this is fantastic to have. And if you look at the figures or the numbers of registered players, more than 90% are in the top 20 countries of the world. UEFA, not everyone gave an answer, but still, almost. If you look at national teams, again, not every MA has got a senior national or had a senior national team last year. If they have got a senior national team, they also have a under 19, but the number decreases when it goes to younger age group. But since the development tournaments, which have been introduced 4 years ago, 5 years ago, number increased a lot. This was a good, I think, was really a good investment from UEFA and a good help to give the opportunity to the MAs to have activities with their girls' national team. Again, almost everyone in Europe has got a league. Almost all the leagues are managed by the MA. If it comes to coaches, almost, but not every MA has got a national team coach. They just appointed 4 activities, those who haven't got. And a figure where there is huge potential is the last one. Only 35%, only 1/3 of the MAs have got a women's football development manager. I think this is a very low number. And very often, the national team coach is at the same time also women's football development manager or officer, which I think nowadays within Europe, this is no longer the way to do it. There is so many things which can be developed, so many projects which could be set in place. I think there is a need for a change, to have both of them, national team coach and women's football development manager. Of course, they work closely together, but I think there is a strong need because development is not yet finished. This is the perception of women's football. It is difficult to read for you. Many MAs see women's football as a great platform for international participation. This is top rank. International participation is very important. Only second, women's football, girls and women's football is a vehicle for social development. There is still potential in that part, I guess. And I know it is not easy to talk to government, but I think the social aspect of keeping kids, especially kids, active and telling them or educating them that being active, playing football, playing a game, playing sports is part of their daily life, or should be part of the daily life, and the benefit of it. I think this message doesn't get through, and it's still hard to convince government bodies to support sports in general a little more than they do right now. But if it comes to the biggest challenges, maybe if we look worldwide, then the biggest challenge is finance, investment. As I said before, no one feels that there is enough. And if we ask everyone, then almost everyone says, yeah, we need more funds. But I think there is, especially also in Europe, things start to change, but development and changes need time. But still, compared to a couple of years back, the situation is much better. Maybe this is just a small picture, but on that weekend, the semifinals of the Women's Champions League are played. And if you look at the squads, if we look at how international the teams are, so teams or clubs nowadays, they can afford to have professional players from all over the world. This is a huge change to 10 years back. And it's not only one team or two. The number of these clubs is increasing. There are slowly sponsors coming into the women's game again, as well. Second challenge is infrastructure. And I think you are also in the situation to struggle with infrastructure, not to have enough time on the pitch, or not to have any pitch, proper pitch. This is actually a big challenge, I think. But there are many ideas how to deal with, how to live with. And especially, I think, again, especially in Europe, many people say, yeah, but we need to go back to street football because, when we were young, that people of my generation, we say, but when we were young, we played on the street. This doesn't happen anymore. But it starts to happen again because of lack of infrastructure. And the more players we get, the more infrastructure we need, or the more ideas we need to have how to solve that problem. UEFA, so this is worldwide, and the biggest challenges from UEFA countries is the same. Investment. Number 3 is infrastructure and number of players. So I don't know what Estonia answered to that question, but still in our region, we want to increase the number. And I think this proves that we all see the potential. We see that there are more girls who want to play, so we need to give them the opportunity to play. And we need to increase the number also to increase the quality. If we talk about, or MAs were asked about priorities and goals for the next 10 years, and not only for the next year, 10 years, talking about development. Increase the number of participants, again. Development of players. How to develop the players. Not only to have them and keep them active, but we want to develop them. We want to promote our game. And again, funding, how to find new solutions to fund the game. In UEFA, within UEFA, increase the number of players, player development, and promotion of the women's game. These are the priorities. I think for us, if we read, and you can read and go through that survey on FIFA.com, you will find it there. Yes, there is lots of figures, lots of numbers. Some, I think, they make us think about the situation we are in. But for UEFA and FIFA, I think these figures and numbers, and especially priorities and goals for the next few years, is also important to give them an idea what kind of development programs should be set in place. And I think this is really, really good to have. And my experience is, since I've been in the game and since I've been in the international level, I faced a lot of openness, a lot of a strong will to share. And this will to share is also going to UEFA and FIFA. They really ask the MAs, what is going on in your country? What is happening? What are you struggling with? And that's how programs, development programs, can be tailor-made. If we look at a little bit in general, permanent needs or ongoing needs, it's still funding, of course. It is about promoting the game. And as we have seen before, yes, there is I can see the difficulty having players abroad. That might mean lower quality within the country, but to promote the game, it is very important to have these role models, to have players to whom small children look at and can say, oh, that's what I want to have. I want to go abroad and I want to play for, I don't know, Boston Breakers, yeah, or whatever, yeah? This is important to have for the whole country. Technical expertise, how to develop the players. Of course, a lot of things there is no difference between men and women or boys and girls. But still, boys are not girls and women are not men. So there is some specific knowledge, I guess, and this knowledge has to be spread all over the world. Infrastructure is a challenge which I think cannot be solved within the MA, but is only to be solved with government. And with all, I could put more things on that list, but in the end, it comes to dreams should become reality. And kids, and hopefully also we still have got dreams. If I look at the pictures we've seen before, when I was young, I never thought that something like a European championship for women would be possible to have. I never thought that I could be a professional football coach. No way. That was a dream, really. And somehow it happened. And there are lots of girls all over the world who still dream about playing football. And I think this is still the main task we have. Give every girl who wants to play, every girl and every woman who wants to play, give them a chance to play. And there is a video who shows about that dream. And I think this is the message for all of us, even if we have got some more specific tasks as coaches, as presidents of clubs, as manager of teams, as whatever we are, in whatever the role we have got, but in the end it's about giving the chance to play for girls and women. Thank you very much.